Alright, strap in real ones. Here are my 10 favorite albums of the year. And a note on the nomenclature. I'm saying favorite and not necessarily the best, because I do believe that there are some albums that are better than the albums that I have on this list, but I'm going by favorite because I just don't feel like arguing with people. And on top of that, it all comes down to personal choice, and one person's best is not another person's best, and I'm not here for that. Look to Brat, look to Jeremy, look to other people that can break down best for you. But for me, you're going to get what is my favorite. So let me know what y'all think in the comments, but I think we should just jump right in. First and foremost, Chief Keef's Almighty So 2. When this album and when Chief Keef in general was on my Spotify Wrapped, a lot of people were surprised to see it. A lot of people didn't believe that I listened to Chief Keef, but I actually believe Keef is one of the greatest rappers of all time. And when I say of all time, I'm not talking about the lyrical miracles like Nas or Jay-Z, but I'm talking in terms of actual influence. And I do believe that Chief Keef, and tell me if I'm crazy, but I do believe that Chief Keef has influenced an entire genre of trap rappers coming from the gutter that are rapping about their struggles in ways that they can't necessarily comprehend, but they're putting it on wax. And I feel like Keef is definitely known for that. Almighty So 2 features a wonderful array of songs. He gets a little spiritual on them. He has a Michael Blackson skit on it, which was on, if I'm correct, the first Almighty So. It has one of my favorite songs of the year, and I'm Trying to Sleep. Has a great Quavo verse on Never Fly here, and it's just generally a good album. You should check it out. At number 9 is Future's We Don't Trust You, the album that launched 1,000 beefs. Now, Future's album wasn't a surprise, but Kendrick Lamar's verse on Like That was a surprise, and I think Brat had Kendrick Lamar's verse as the #1 feature of the year, and I totally agree with that. Let me know what y'all think, but I really believe that Future dropping 3 #1 albums this year shows that this man still has the game in a chokehold, and all 3 of them doing gangbuster numbers. And it was hilarious that Future, in his interview, I think he did it with Billboard, was basically, or GQ, one of them, was basically saying like, y'all, it was GQ actually. Future in his interview with GQ was saying that Kendrick Lamar was also kind of going at him when he said, if you're talking about the big 3 and Drake and J. Cole, but Future's like, I'm right here. And honestly, Future has a very good point there. Future should be considered one of the biggest rappers out at the moment, but people don't necessarily see him in that light. But I feel like this album is great, and We Still Don't Trust You, and Mixtape Pluto, great projects. That's number 9. On number 8 is Rema, He Is. Not much to say about this. I feel like I started listening to Rema in actual parlance this year, but I really believe that this album had great play in my household for about 3 straight weeks. Ozeba is great, and also everywhere I went out in Brooklyn, I heard Rema playing. I didn't get to go to his album release party, which happened, and I didn't get that invite, but just the energy that he had and how I enjoyed it so much, and personally combined with how I listened to it outside when DJs are playing it, gets it slotted in at number 8. Check it out. At number 7 is Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft. Everyone knows that I listen to my own fair amount of pop music, and Billie Eilish really, I think she needs to be in that conversation. She's already a generational talent, and I feel like we are all in agreement of that. But this project has it's 10 songs, it's very short, but each song has a part 2, and it's really something special. Her voice sounds clear, the lyrics are strong, she's really diving into her queerness here, and the fact that she's only 21, if I'm correct, and she's already kind of rapping with this clarity, already singing with this clarity. Generational talent right there. Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft. At number 6 is Doechii's Alligator Bites Never Heal. In my original list, I had Denzel Curry's Kings of the Mischievous South 2 instead of this, but I made a mistake. It should be Doechii's. Doechii is absolutely everywhere. You saw her on Colbert, you saw her on The Tiny Desk, you saw her on Genius's open mic with Issa Rae. The album is fantastic. She got nominated for Best New Artist, and this album was amazing. I made a video on this very mic about the album, talking about it, and I have been on Doechii since She Her Black Bitch back in 2022, and honestly before that with All the Places You'll Go. Doechii is a generational talent, and I know I've overused that in this video already, but Doechii's Alligator Bites Never Heal, I loved it, and honestly, she can rap. She's up there with any of them. Nissan Altima, come on. At number 5 is GloRilla's Glorious. GloRilla has had a glow up See what I did there? But I really believe that GloRilla has stepped into her own. A lot of people thought that what's the name is Fuck Nigga Free she was going to be a one-hit wonder, and it turned out that she clearly wasn't. She really has she put together a really solid project that had bangers from top to finish, that talked about being a spurned lover, that talked about leaving niggas. She had an amazing song with Sexy Red, who I am a very big fan of, and overall, like, I feel like really established a moment and showed that she is not a flash in the pan. So shout outs to GloRilla. And number 4 is Kendrick Lamar's GNX. Honestly, if this album had come out in September or even October, it might have been higher in my personal list. It's number 1 on a few other folks' list, and I totally see why it is. Kendrick Lamar again showcases why he is one of the greatest rappers of all time. Honestly, arguably top 3. After defeating Drake, essentially slaying the Canadian dragon and the beef of all time earlier in the year, you saw me covering that. Kendrick Lamar drops a surprise album with literally 10 minutes notice and goes number 1 for multiple weeks, sells over 300,000 albums, and honestly establishes himself as not only the boogeyman, but effectively the leader of hip-hop. He leans into his West Coast identity here, featuring a number of West Coast artists, and honestly brings together a sound that people had felt like was lagging a couple years ago. Something I want to say is that there were a number of y'all that called Mr. Morale the Big Steppers boring. Personally, I liked it. I didn't love that album. Damn is my favorite Kendrick Lamar album, and then after that is Good Kid, Mad City, and then To Pimp a Butterfly, although I do understand that To Pimp a Butterfly is as lauded and it should be as good as it is, but the point that I'm trying to make is a lot of y'all this time last year would have called Kendrick Lamar boring. You are now standing this man, and that's fine. That's fine. But let's just keep it 100% a buck. But anyway, Squabble Up, which people thought was broccoli, Reincarnated, Luther. Oh my God, fantastic project. Gloria, like Kendrick Lamar GNX, and honestly, I might have to put it higher, but we already have the list set in stone, so let's stick with what we got. And number 3 is Omar Apollo's God Said No. If I'm putting this album on the podium, it definitely meant something for me. From the moment that I played it back in July when I was on my trip to San Francisco, I listened to it for an entire week. I know there's some people that say Omar Apollo is Frank Ocean Light, but I don't necessarily agree with that. If anything, the reason why I don't necessarily agree with that because I have a hot take. I feel like a lot of male R&B is effectively Frank Ocean Light and has been since that man effectively vacated the scene, but that's a whole different story. On God Said No, which is effectively a breakup album, Omar Apollo goes through the many different stages of grief. On Less of You, on Glow, on Plane Trees, Life's Unfair, Omar effectively breaks down and synthesizes what losing somebody actually is, and I feel like it's such a beautiful breakup project, and the man's voice is great. I don't necessarily like when he raps, I'll be completely honest with that, but generally Omar Apollo's God Said No, beautiful project. I love it. Number 2 is Tyler the Creator's CHROMAKOPIA. I don't think I've ever loved Tyler the Creator as much as I did when he did here. I still believe that Igor is the best, my favorite personal Tyler the Creator project, a lot because it mixed a lot of pop sensibilities with like hip hop and the things that I think shine the most about Tyler. But this album, the whole rollout, everything about it, like Sticky, like the rapping on it, Dear Jane, like such an amazing project, the messages that it had, and the fact that people are still diving into it and finding out new Easter eggs, and I bought tickets for the tour. Personally, I cannot wait. And number 1 is Charli XCX's Brat. I was late to this project, of all things. I had a lot going on when it came out in June, and I didn't buy the tickets for the tour Sweat as soon as I should have, and honestly, I crashed out a lot about that on social media, and I kind of regret it. But when it comes down to it, Charli XCX this year became Taylor Swift in terms of popularity. And that's a good thing for her. I'm actually very happy. Is it a good thing for me personally and the micro level as a fan? I don't necessarily know. The reason why I say that is because Charli became so incredibly inaccessible. I remember being able to see her for $80 a couple years ago, or even $60 back in 2017. But now, it's like she's in the stratosphere. Brat became the theme of the summer. It became a theme of a failed presidential campaign in Kamala Harris. And honestly, it was amazing. 365, Sympathy is a Knife, 360, the project is so beautiful, so amazing. And also it shows that when it comes down to it, you really have to stick to your guns. You really have to dive into your own sensibilities and the things that make you you, and that is what is going to take you far. And with Charli XCX's Brat, she leaned into stuff that she was already doing, stuff that she was already good. She didn't change her music. She didn't put out any I Love It's or fight with the label. She put out what she wanted to put out, and it therefore became her best project. So there's my 10. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments, and of course, drop a like, follow, and subscribe if you want more. Drop a W if you made it this far. It's your boy Jacques. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.